Now at 9, Jasper County authorities investigate a death discovered after a home fire. Plus,
we hear from a local business about multiple break-ins into the store, and law enforcement gives tips how to prevent this from happening.
Former President Trump is reacting to his indictment by a New York grand jury. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll take a closer look coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Dow Quick. A New York grand jury today voted to indict former President Trump in connection with a hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. The indictment is filed under seal and will likely be announced in the coming days. Reaction is pouring in from Mar-a-Lago and Congress. Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Mr. Trump's attorneys say he committed no crimes, and they pledge to fight these charges in court. Authorities in New York City on high alert following the revelation a grand jury voted to indict former President Trump. The charges relate to a hush money payment made to adult film star Stormy Daniels.
It's a raw political prosecution. Now, the indictment may come out with a crime that none of us have heard of.
Accusations against Mr. Trump stem from his former attorney, Michael Cohen, paying Daniels $130,000 to remain quiet over an alleged sexual encounter with the former president. The grand jury was deciding whether Trump falsified business documents when his company reported the reimbursement to Cohen as legal expenses. Former President Trump reacted in a statement, calling the indictment political persecution and election interference at the highest level in history. Most Republicans are rallying to his side.
I think this is going to backfire on the Democrats. And again, we know that Trump is a fighter. He leans into the fight. He's not going to go anywhere.
Democrats, meanwhile, are praising the move, arguing accountability is long overdue.
I would caution those who believe that President Trump is being politically persecuted here to not persecute our judicial and legal system.
Mr. Trump has vowed an indictment will not stop his 2024 presidential campaign. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy joins us with a first look at the weather.
Well, we've had showers, thunderstorms rolling through during the evening hours. Some strong storms, even a couple severe thunderstorm warnings, and also the winds have really picked up. Before the rain, 71, so 6 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. Check this out, high wind warning in the purple. This is for tonight and tomorrow as those winds are going to be really moving. Bands of showers and thunderstorms continue, just kind of flaring up once again, southwest Missouri, northeastern parts of Oklahoma, and then again once you get up from Pittsburgh toward Fort Scott. And we're going to see these out there for the next couple hours, and then they're going to start to calm down just a bit. Mainly upper 50s to near 60 degrees is where we are sitting at this point in time. We are going to have more thunderstorms in the forecast tomorrow morning, and we're going to talk about those winds here in just a bit.
See you soon. Authorities in Jasper County are investigating the case of a body found after a home fire. A little after 1 this morning, drivers along I-49 reported the fire just south of Baseline Boulevard, east of the interstate. When fire crews arrived at the burning home, the fire was too intense for them to enter. But neighbors said they believed a resident was in the home. Crews eventually found one person dead inside. There is no word yet on the cause of the fire or the name of the victim. Authorities in Coffeyville, Kansas have arrested a suspect in an armed robbery at Walmart over the weekend. Police say the robber pulled out a firearm, robbed the store clerk, and left with an undisclosed amount of cash. Authorities say the suspect was arrested without incident. Official charges have not yet been filed. A Miami, Oklahoma business that just recently opened is already the target of a crime, twice. KOAM's Yana Hautala talked with the owner and law enforcement about incidents like this and how to prevent them.
This new business here in Miami, Oklahoma has not been open for very long, but has already had 2 break-ins within a month.
2:44 in the morning, I get the alarm notification, come to find out that this kid had threw a rock through my front door. And there's one that he threw through the door.
Barnes believes the suspect is a juvenile trying to get into vaping products. He's working with local law enforcement in both cases. He says the presence of cameras and alarm system helped both times.
That potentially is what caused him to only get one thing, is I think it spooked him both times, right? He breaks in the glass, that motion sensor trips, and the alarm starts screaming at him.
Miami's chief of police, Thomas Anderson, says the department's seen more burglaries committed by juveniles recently. He advises business owners to install good locks, barriers in front of windows, and add lighting. Cameras should also be directed to download to an off-site location.
We've had a couple burglars that have broken into buildings and they steal the DVR, so you lose that evidence. So if you have one that downloads elsewhere, very helpful to us.
Barnes hopes it doesn't come to the point he has to put bars on his windows.
It doesn't look welcoming, and I'm trying to change the entire atmosphere around vaping.
In Miami, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
The police chief told Yana that officers identified a juvenile suspect in at least one of the cases. Charges are pending. Ascension Via Christi Hospital in Pittsburgh today taught people about a new way to treat Parkinson's disease. The hospital is now offering a physical therapy using whole body movements. Officials say the treatment improves walking speed, balance, mobility, and can strengthen speech quality.
Lee Silverman voice training. So it was actually started as a speech program for people with Parkinson's, but it has progressed into a physical therapy and occupational therapy too, but we just have physical therapy here. Treatment for people with Parkinson's, helping them move bigger, move better, and just improve their overall quality of life.
The treatments are called LSVT Big and LSVT Loud. Coming up, how new 3D printing technology could revolutionize the future of surgery. Some pretty fascinating objects have been made thanks to the evolution of 3D printing, from homes to food to fashion accessories and beyond. But now researchers say 3D printing could revolutionize the future of surgery. Reporter Gary Baumgarten takes a closer look.
Researchers are unveiling a new flexible robot that can 3D print inside the human body. The groundbreaking device from engineers in Australia could change the future of surgery. During an operation, the robot, known as F3DB, can non-invasively enter a person's body through their mouth. Once inside, a surgeon can guide the bot to a damaged organ, broken piece of tissue, or even a ruptured blood vessel. The device then squeezes a material made with living cells onto the injured area. The mixture binds to the wound, and the living cells help it to heal.
Currently, no commercially available technology can perform direct 3D printing inside the human body.
While other 3D printers can generate objects made from living cells, the materials are delicate, and implanting them inside the body usually involves cutting a person open. This can increase the risks for surgical complications, like blood loss and infection. The robot's 3D printing head can also be swapped out with devices similar to a scalpel and even a water jet, giving surgeons a 3-in-1 tool.
They can cut the tissue and then they can clean the tissue, and after that we can 3D print material to speed up the healing process.
The team behind the robot hopes to have it ready for commercial use in the next 5 to 7 years. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
COVID-19 during pregnancy might increase obesity risk in children. Researchers in Boston studied about 150 infants exposed to COVID in the womb. They found the babies had lower birth weight and then greater weight gain in the first year of life. Those changes have been associated with greater risk for obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease later on. Pets might tamp down on food allergies in kids. A study in the journal PLOS ONE found that children exposed to cats or dogs in the home before birth or during early infancy tended to have fewer food allergies compared to other children. Those with dogs were significantly less likely to have egg, milk, and nut allergies, while infants living with cats were less likely to be allergic to eggs, wheat, and soybeans. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later Pitt State football players got a chance to show off their skills to NFL scouts during Pro Day.
Well, of course, we've had showers and thunderstorms working through during the evening hours, and we're going to continue to have thunderstorms at least the next couple hours, and then more are going to flare up again by the time we head into the morning hours. But First off, high wind warning tonight into tomorrow. Look at this in the purple. I can't even remember last time we were under a high wind warning, but this is due to winds. If you haven't stepped outside, they're moving, gusting 50 upwards to 60 miles per hour. And those are straight line winds, and that can still actually do damage because a severe thunderstorm has winds gusting 60 miles per hour. We're going to have that without even the thunderstorms, which is kind of crazy. All right, we've had scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon into the evening hours. First batch kind of flaring up again behind it. So we still have the thunderstorms out there right now, northwest Arkansas, southwest Missouri, into southeastern parts of Kansas. So let's go ahead and zoom in. Here's Berry County, Cassville over to Pineville, pretty good thunderstorm. Neosho up toward Granby. Again, these are kind of moderate storms. We had a couple severe thunderstorms earlier. I think most of those are gone for the overnight hours tonight. One little thunderstorm really pushing right through Joplin. And then once you get from Pittsburgh, Arma, Frontenac, up toward Fort Scott, also a pretty good little thunderstorm, which is pushing through. I think once this batch really gets through, it's going to develop a little bit more on the backside. Then we're going to calm down a bit as we go through the overnight hours. But this right here, that's our dry line that is racing toward us. And once it passes through, any severe threat for tomorrow is going to be gone. All right, look at the winds. Sustained anywhere from 15 to 25, but our gusts have really gone up. Look at this. We've had winds gusting 40 upwards to 50 throughout the evening hours, and these are actually going to get even a little bit stronger as we go through the night into tomorrow. We're going to have winds gusting 50 to 60 miles per hour. So if you have the trash can outside or the patio furniture, strap it down or bring it in. Do whatever you can if it's not already gone. All right, let's go through time. 11:30, heaviest storms or rain out of here, and some spotty showers and spotty thunder showers the rest of the night. They start to flare up again 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and some of these could pack a little bit of a punch. Maybe a couple strong storms, can't rule out a low-grade severe storm. Then they race off toward the east. Here's 11 a.m., and then here comes the dry line, and then the humidity really drops below it. So with the winds and the humidity plummeting, that's why we have the fire danger for us tomorrow afternoon. Greatest severe threat is going to be central and eastern parts of Missouri. We have a very low threat in the morning, and then things will start to calm down storm-wise, not wind-wise. That's why we're doing alert day tomorrow, because when you get winds 50 to 60, you want to alert people. 74 tomorrow, 58, cooling down on Saturday, but nice. And really Sunday looks pretty good. There could be a random shower in our southern counties.
Yeah, people need to take care of that lawn furniture and other things that could blow around in that very
first
heavy
thing I'm
rain.
going to do when I get home tonight. So.
Good idea. Coming up, concerns about rising prices.
New Fox polls show Americans are increasingly worried about inflation. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have more on that story coming up.
Two reports out today suggest a slight cooling of the U.S. economy. The Commerce Department says the gross domestic product grew slightly less than expected in the fourth quarter of last year. It says the inflation-adjusted GDP, which is the broadest measure of economic activity, was 2.6%. That's a tenth of a point shy of a recent estimate, according to Refinitiv. Meanwhile, the Department of Labor reports first-time jobless claims have increased. Lawmakers are in a heated debate over President Biden's proposed budget for fiscal year 2024. The White House says it would reduce the deficit and help the economy, but Republicans are unconvinced. Reporter Caroline Shively is in Washington with the latest on that, as well as a new Fox poll revealing what Americans think about inflation.
Today is March 30th. It's been long enough.
The Senate Majority Leader issuing an urgent plea to Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, urging the GOP to come back with a counteroffer to the president's budget proposal. But Republicans argue the president's plan costs too much.
It includes the highest levels of taxes, spending, and deficits than we've ever seen in the history of the country. It's no wonder that we still have this inflation, that we're nosediving into recession.
The debate continuing as new Fox polls show 90% of voters are worried about inflation, putting the issue above other top concerns like higher crime rates and political divisions. 61% report they are extremely concerned. As for the president's job rating on the economy, polls show he is now upside down by 29 points. 64% of voters disapprove of his performance. Just 35% approve.
Well, those aren't strong numbers for President Biden. They're just not happy with the direction that America's going, and they're not sure that their future is going to be better than their present or their past.
But Democrats are defending the president's budget plan, saying it will help curb inflation, not add to it.
I think that these investments will grow our economy, grow our revenues, and will bring inflation down.
If we curve our spending, what will happen? Lower inflation.
The House adjourned today without producing a budget proposal. They'll be back in 2 weeks. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
This week, Speaker McCarthy issued a letter to President Biden calling for a meeting to negotiate the debt limit. The White House maintains the president will not meet until Republicans put forward a counter proposal. Goldman Sachs says up to 300 million full-time jobs around the world could be affected by artificial intelligence. The new wave of AI that has spawned platforms like ChatGPT could lead to jobs being automated in some way. In a report, Goldman Sachs economists predicted 18% of work globally could be computerized. Economists at the investment bank believe the effects would be felt more deeply in advanced economies than emerging markets, with white-collar workers more at risk than manual laborers. Up next, if you've ever wondered what kind of sounds plants make, well, new research has your answer. You might think plants are completely silent, but according to a new study, no, they are not. Scientists found that plants actually make popping sounds, and they make more sounds when they're thirsty or under other kinds of stress. Researchers placed tobacco and tomato plants in soundproof acoustic boxes with ultrasonic microphones. When translated into a frequency that humans can hear, the noises were a bit similar to the pop of popcorn or, say, bubble wrap. Researchers don't know exactly how the sounds are made, but they are undetectable to the human ear, as opposed to ears of corn, I guess. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. How a local organization is helping a 3-year-old get ready to compete in a race all the way in Japan. Plus, we're going to learn the story behind the 50,000th specimen mounted at Pitt State Sperry Herbarium. The Alliance of Southwest Missouri has pledged its support for a young Joplin family as they prepare to embark on a journey to Japan for the Strider World Cup race. However, with only 2 months remaining until the big event, the family has to raise money in order to cover travel and lodging expenses. KOAM Shagun Bamadeli has more.
2, 1, go!
3-year-old Silas McCain started riding a bicycle as early as he could walk.
His dad and I are both cyclists, so after he was born, we kind of introduced him to bikes at a really early age, and he started riding about as soon as he could walk, and he just learned to love it.
Silas is selected as one of 10 representatives for Team USA in his age category. However, with only 2 months remaining until the big event, the family must raise $7,500 to cover travel and lodging expenses.
And so we are trying to raise funds to get him there for like flight and lodging and the registration fee and all of that.
After hearing Silas's story, the Alliance of Southwest Missouri decided to help the McCain family through a program called Full Potential.
The Alliance has agreed to match up to $500 to help Silas get to Osaka, Japan. So we're very excited for him to be able to compete on that international level and represent Team USA. And we're just so excited that we get to kind of put Full Potential's name on that, to get the name out there and let people know about this program that really does exist to help families.
Silas' parents are proud he will represent his family and country.
We're really excited for him. I mean, it's an experience for sure. I feel like it's a life-changing experience, maybe something that won't ever happen for him again. So it's super exciting as a parent just to watch him participate in something like this.
Boy, we wish him well. The organization is calling on the community to make donations to the family's GoFundMe account to help Silas achieve his full potential. You can find the link on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Pitt State is honoring one of its most distinguished alumni. The university today hosted a reception for this year's Distinguished Service Award recipient. It would be this woman, Lindsay Young. Young graduated from Pitt State with a bachelor's degree in 2005, a master's degree in 2009. Since then, she's been a volunteer with this school, mentored students, and she's a member of the Alumni Association Board of Directors.
Students, letting them know the opportunities that are in the industries that are out there. That I work in construction now, doing marketing, and that wasn't anything I ever thought of as an alumni. So I want to educate our students here at Pitt State about the opportunities and maybe industries they don't even think about.
That reception was at Pitt State's Alumni Center. The Sperry Herbarium at Pitt State celebrated a big milestone today. Freshman Elena Fulkerson had the honor of mounting the herbarium's 50,000th plant specimen. The herbarium was established in 1946 with 100 specimens and now includes representations from Southeast Kansas and the region. It also includes plants from nearly all U.S. states and 59 countries.
They need to be in like cooler temperatures so insects don't eat them, and that's why we have these cabinets. But a lot of our specimens in here are pretty old. We have some from like the early 1900s, and as long as they're kept in these safe conditions on like good paper and they were pressed nicely, they should basically last forever, unless if you're like roughhousing them.
That's right, they don't roughhouse them. Elena is a biology major with an emphasis in botany. Residents in a small Minnesota town are able to return home after an overnight train derailment and fire. They were evacuated early this morning as a precaution after more than a dozen cars carrying ethanol and corn syrup derailed. Happened in Raymond, a couple of miles west of Minneapolis, a couple of hours west. No injuries were reported. Local authorities say there have been no groundwater impacts from the derailment and ethanol leaks. A health scare has landed Pope Francis in the hospital. The Vatican is now providing an update on his condition. Reporter Amy Kellogg has more.
Just days before the start of Holy Week, Pope Francis is receiving treatment in the hospital for a respiratory infection. The Vatican says he was, quote, progressively improving overnight. On Thursday, the 86-year-old pontiff thanked his supporters, tweeting, quote, I am touched by the many messages received in these hours, and I express my gratitude for the closeness and prayer.
I wish that the Pope, who is so fundamental for our church in this moment, gets out of the hospital as soon as possible.
The Vatican announced on Wednesday that Pope Francis had gone for pre-scheduled tests before saying he was taken to the hospital after suffering breathing problems. Doctors ruled out COVID and stressed that there was no cause for concern.
Historically, he's not had tremendous health difficulties. When he was a young man in his early 20s, he had a portion of his lobe of his lungs removed. But he said that that's never caused him any trouble since then.
Before being admitted to the hospital, Pope Francis greeted a crowd of people at St. Peter's Basilica, as he does each Wednesday. He was scheduled to celebrate Palm Sunday Mass this weekend, but it's not clear how his condition will impact his ability to do that. On Wednesday, President Biden urged people to pray for the pontiff.
I found that the two most Christ-like figures I've ever met were His All Holiness and the Pope. The Pope is ill now, so say an extra prayer for him.
Vatican officials have already said that the Pope's audiences, at least through Friday, will be canceled. In Milan, Amy Kellogg, Fox News.
Russia has arrested an American reporter and accused him of spying for the U.S. government. Russian President Vladimir Putin's office claims Ivan Gershkovich, a reporter for the Wall Street Journal, was caught red-handed collecting information about a Russian military complex. The Wall Street Journal denies the claims and demands his immediate release. A bit later, trying to combat unruly plane passengers.
Congress is considering a no-fly list that would ground passengers who become violent on board. But some say this idea shouldn't take off. I'm Madla Rivera with the details coming up.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a warm, windy day for us today. And then scattered showers and thunderstorms are rolled in this evening. We still have thunderstorms out there right now. We are going to make tomorrow an alert day just due to the winds, and the very high winds are going to be, they're up there all night long. It's been super windy all day, and the winds have been increasing over the past several hours. So all these counties in purple, this is a high wind warning for winds gusting 50 to 60 really over about the next 20 hours. Every county in the red, so northeastern Oklahoma, a red flag warning due to very high winds, low humidity, because once the dry line passes tomorrow, humidity plummets. So that's why we have these out. But yeah, it's going to be just super windy as we go through the next 24 hours. All right, first batch of storms, second batch kind of developed right on top of us over the past hour. So we're still getting thunderstorms mainly on the Missouri side right now. None of these are too strong or severe. They're kind of moderate thunderstorms, some thunder, some lightning. We had a couple severe thunderstorms earlier today, but those are all gone. So if you look just north Cassville, Monette, Neosho, all getting showers and thunderstorms over to Mount Vernon, right along I-44, stretching all the way back into the east side of the metro, up toward Carthage, along I-49, up to Lamar, Nevada. You can see the lightning just north of Nevada. So pretty good thunderstorms. Now, this batch is going to work out over the next couple hours, probably a little bit of a break. Here's the main front or slash dry line. The actual cold front's back here, but this is the dry line that will drop the humidity. And once it passes by, any thunderstorm threat for us will start to go down. All right, winds have been way up there. Sustained winds, 15 to 25. Gusts, look at this over the past few hours. Gusts have been 40 to 50 at times, and these are going to continue to intensify through the night. Gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. All right, let's step through the next 24 to 36 hours. Heaviest storms move out of here in the next couple hours, and then late tonight, tomorrow morning, they flare up again, 6, 7, 8, 9 a.m. Some of these storms could pack a little bit of a punch. Here's about 9 o'clock in the morning. I think mainly just strong, maybe a low-grade severe storm. They quickly advance into central Missouri. So here's 11 a.m. Here's the dry line by noon. So any threat for any strong severe storms is done. Once this passes through, it marches east. You can see the storms blow up. We're sitting into the mid-70s. Very, very windy. All right, so the biggest severe threat tomorrow, central and eastern parts of Missouri, and it's going to be a pretty active day once you go east. Day planner 73 by 1, get some sunshine, temps into the 70s. The afternoon, I mean, despite the wind, it's going to be a pretty good day, but an alert day because 50 to 60 mile per hour winds is pretty intense. 74 tomorrow, 58 Saturday. Most of the weekend looks great. Sunday in general is very good, maybe a shower in the evening. Thunderstorms return Monday and Tuesday with a severe threat.
50 to 60 mile an hour winds.
That's crazy.
It's like highway speeds close to it. Thanks, Doug. Coming up in sports, 4 Pitt State football players worked out for NFL scouts at the team's pro day. Plus, Carl Junction baseball hits the field for an interstate matchup against Frontenac. Jacob Leonard has those highlights and more coming up.
Well, the Frontenac Raiders opened the baseball season with a 4-2 win over the Nevada Tigers on Monday night. Tonight, the Raiders face another team from across the state line, hitting the road to play Carl Junction. Now, the Bulldogs have already played 5 games. They're 2-3 coming into this one. Lucas Van Landuit, good early on the mound for Carl Junction. Gets a pair of strikeouts here in the first. This game scoreless after 1. Now, in the second, Frontenac has runners on the corners. Bryant Kitchen draws the throw to second. That allows Mario Mangini to come in from third. Raiders have the first run of the day. The bottom half, check this out. Bryant Kitchen on in relief for the Raiders, and before he even throws his first pitch, picks the runner off at second. This one stayed tied until the 7th. Frontenac gets a pair of runs in the 7th to win it 3-1. In Pittsburgh, softball home opener for the Purple Dragons hosting SEK rival Chanute. On the bottom of the 3rd, Blue Comets up 1-0. Callie Terry drives this one up the middle into center field. Brett Pasteur scores. The game all tied up 1-1. Now in the 4th now, Sydney Neville lines this one into center. That ball finds grass. Megan Johnston scores. Pittsburgh takes the lead. It's 2-1. Then in the 6th inning, look at this. Megan Johnston slices this one down the right field line. It stays fair. She would hustle around all 4 bases and get an inside the park home run for Pittsburgh. That gives the Purple Dragons a 3-1 lead. We'll skip ahead to the 7th now. 6-1 Pittsburgh. Last chance for Chanute, but the double play ends it. Pittsburgh beats Chanute 6-1 in their home opener. Well, today is opening day for Major League Baseball. Both the Kansas City Royals and St. Louis Cardinals are in action today, both playing at home to kick off their schedule. Now, the Cardinals have an interleague series to start things off with a 3-game set against the Toronto Blue Jays. Game 1 tonight, a great game, but the Blue Jays win it 10-9. The two teams combined for 34 hits. Nolan Arenado goes 2 for 5 for St. Louis with a double and 3 RBIs. As for the Royals, they open up their season with a series against AL Central rival Minnesota. In Game 1 this evening, Kansas City gets shut out 2-0. The Royals manage just 2 hits in the game. Pittsburgh State football hosts its NFL Pro Day today. It's a chance for Pittsburgh State players and other players from around the region to work out in front of pro scouts and try to earn their spot in the league. And the Gorillas had 4 guys work out today for NFL scouts. Offensive lineman Corey Woodruff, defensive end Keandre Hall, and wide receivers Bryce Murphy and Mark Wheeland. Now, Woodruff was a first-team All-MIAA selection and an All-American this year for Pittsburgh State. Now, here he is on his workout and trying to earn his shot to play in the NFL.
All the NFL is the biggest, fastest humans on earth, and I'm up there. So I'm big, I'm fast, I'm agile, I'm quick. I can do anything an NFL coach asks of me. So at the end of the day, I felt like I was born and God blessed me with these abilities, so that's why I'm here.
I feel like the morning went well. I wanted to come out here and showcase my abilities, show that I can get in and out of breaks, and show my vertical and my jumps.
Being able to have this opportunity is a blessing at Pitt State, coming from a small school. Not a lot of guys get this chance, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance. So I was just thinking before to show up, give it all I got, and take advantage of the opportunity.
I've been doing this job 8 years, and we've seen plenty of people go Division II, especially locally. So it's not out of the question. And Corey Woodruff, he's right. He's big and he's fast.
No, I've seen some get to the NFL, but some really excel there.
Sure.
We'll be right back. 9 people were killed in a crash involving 2 Army Black Hawk helicopters in Kentucky. The helicopters were conducting a nighttime training exercise when the scene turned tragic. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin issued a statement saying he's saddened by this loss, adding that he's working to make sure troops and families receive the care they need in the wake of that accident. Congress is taking another look at creating a new no-fly list for unruly passengers. It would be separate from the FBI's list, which is geared toward people suspected of having terrorism ties. But not everyone is on board with the bill. Reporter Madeline Rivera explains.
Bad behavior may soon get you banned from flying, with Congress looking to ground unruly passengers.
If you commit violence in the skies, you will no longer fly.
A bipartisan group of lawmakers are pushing a bill that would create a no-fly list for people who act up in the air. The Transportation Security Administration would be responsible for creating and managing the list. The initiative comes after a spike in the number of events involving violent passengers. 2021 was the most combative year for flying since the Federal Aviation Administration began recording unruly passenger incidents in the mid-1990s.
Tell them to bring SWAT to shoot me down, because they're going to have to shoot me down today.
Earlier this month, a 33-year-old man on the United Airlines flight from Los Angeles to Boston was arrested after he allegedly tried to open an emergency door and then tried to stab a flight attendant in the neck with a broken metal spoon.
This could have been very dangerous. This was on descent. This is when the pilots are the busiest. There is complete chaos.
However, critics like the ACLU say the Protection from Abusive Passengers Act would be secretive and discriminatory, adding that Congress should look at forcing the airlines to make flying a less miserable experience. Still, supporters believe the bill is necessary and hope it takes off.
Acts of violence are outlandish and unacceptable at any time. They're especially outlandish and unacceptable at 30,000 feet inside a closed airline cabin.
If passed, the bill includes guidelines for notifying passengers they are on the list and how to appeal. Mala Rivera, Fox News.
Coming up, how a national footwear brand was able to help a teen searching for shoes to fit his size 24 feet. After years of frustration, a Michigan teen's search for shoes that fit him is over. At 6'10", Eric Kilburn needs size 24 shoes. Reporter Jillian Felton explains how national footwear brands jumped in to help.
Eric Kilburn already stands out on the football field. At 6'10", his height gives him an advantage, but it's the size of his feet holding him back.
It's been painful. To say the least, it's been hellish. Just not having shoes that fit perfectly. It's just been constant pain.
The 14-year-old can't find cleats, and his size 23 bright yellow sneakers, well, those are even too small.
It's pretty unusual.
Which is why this guy is here.
Okay, so this is a last. We call this a last.
Rob Kropp is the Senior Director for Product Development at Under Armour.
I've been in this industry almost 30 years, and I have never seen anything bigger than a 22. Personally, I've never worked on anything bigger than around a 20.
Turns out Eric's shoe size is unique even to sneaker execs.
I don't have Eric's exact size figured out yet. We need a couple more days to figure that out, but obviously he's going to be the largest shoe we've ever built.
Kropp flew to Michigan to get a proper measurement of Eric's feet, which included a digital scan, because making a shoe big enough for this teenager is no easy task.
We're gonna build the shoes from the ground up, and we've got to build the machinery, or the tooling we call it, to make the shoes, and it's gonna take us probably about 6 to 8 weeks to get all that done.
Eric's parents are overwhelmed.
My hopelessness has been replaced with joy and relief, and that's a priceless feeling.
It's been fantastic, from going to from where we were 10 days ago to where we are now. It's truly nothing short of a miracle.
And Eric, he's looking forward to the football season.
I'm going to be able to play better on the field. I'm going to have shoes that I'm comfortable in, no blisters, no ingrown toenails, none of that stuff.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a panda playing in a pool at a research center in China. Let's make it a great tomorrow.